Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to explore the exciting world of web development and answer the burning question, are web developers in demand? As technology continues to advance, businesses thrive in the digital landscape and online platforms become increasingly essential. The demand for skilled web developers has been on the rise. So let's dive in and discover the current state of the web development industry and fantastic opportunities that it offers. Let's get started. But firstly, what are web developers? Web developers are professionals who specialize in building websites and web applications as well. They are responsible for designing, coding, and maintaining the technical aspects of websites, ensuring that they function smoothly and deliver an optimal user experience. Web developers will often work with various programming languages, markup languages, and frameworks to create the front-end and back-end components of a website. Some key roles and responsibilities of web developers include front-end development. So front-end developers focus on the user interface, also known as UI, and the user experience, so the UX aspects of a website. They use languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to create the visual and interactive elements that users see and interact with in their web browsers. Back-end web developers handle the server-side programming and database management that power websites and web applications. They work with programming languages like Python, Ruby, PHP, or JavaScript to handle data storage, processing, and server-side logic as well. Then you have full-stack developers, and full-stack web developers have proficiency in both front-end and back-end development. They can handle the complete web development process from designing the user interface to building server-side functionality and integrating databases as well. Web developers also perform regular maintenance tasks to ensure websites are up-to-date, secure, and functioning properly. This involves troubleshooting issues, applying updates, and optimizing performances as well. Web developers often work closely with designers, project managers, and other stakeholders to understand requirements, discuss technical feasibility, and ensure smooth project execution as well. So, are web developers actually in demand? And the short answer is yes, web developers are still in demand. With the continued growth of the internet and increasing reliance on other platforms and online platforms, the need for skilled web developers remains really strong. Organizations of all sizes, from small businesses to large corporations, require web developers to create and maintain their websites and their web applications and any other kind of online service. Additionally, the rise of e-commerce, mobile applications, and cloud computing has expanded the scope of web development, creating even more opportunities as well. Skills in popular web development technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and various frameworks like React, Angular, and Vue.js are particularly valuable. Furthermore, knowledge of back-end development, databases, and server-side technologies, as mentioned before, like Python, Ruby, PHP, they can enhance your marketability as a web developer as well. It's worth noting that the specific demand for web developers can vary by location, industry, and technology trends, so staying up to date with the latest technologies and continuously improving your skills can help you stay competitive in this field. Web developers may specialize in specific technologies and frameworks, or CMS, like WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla, depending on their area of web expertise and requirements of the projects that they work on. Overall, web developers play a really crucial role in creating functional, visually appealing, and user-friendly websites and web applications that meet the needs of businesses and users in the digital age. So, how do you actually become a web developer? Becoming a web developer typically involves a combination of education, practical experience, and continuous learning. Here are some steps that you can take to start your journey as a web developer. The first thing that you want to do is define your goals. So determine why you want to become a web developer and what aspects of web development and applications interest you the most. This will help you focus your learning and career path and motivate you to keep going as well, especially when you hit a hard place. The next step is to learn the fundamentals. So you want to start by acquiring a strong foundation in web development basics. So you want to start with something like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, as these are the core languages of the web. There are numerous online resources, tutorials, and interactive platforms available to you to help you learn these languages as well. So web development also offers various specializations like front-end, back-end, or full-stack development. So you want to choose a specialization. You want to decide which area you want to focus on based on your interests, your career goals, and this will guide your learning path and help you acquire the necessary skills as well. You want to also consider taking structured courses or joining web development boot camps. These programs offer comprehensive learning paths and provide hands-on experience. They often cover a range of topics, including programming languages, frameworks, and best practices as well. A really good place to find affordable web development courses or programs is Udemy. And they often run sales as well to help enhance your learning as well. You want to practice and build projects. So essentially, you want to apply what you learned by working on real-world projects. Start with small personal projects and gradually tackle more complex ones. Building a portfolio of projects will showcase your skills to potential employers or clients. Join online communities and networks. So engage with the web development community by joining forums, attending meetups, participating in online discussions, and connecting with other developers. This will help you learn from experienced professionals, get feedback on your work, and also stay updated on industry trends as well. Once you're a bit more comfortable in your web work, you want to try and gain some practical experience. So you want to look for internships, any freelance opportunities, or entry-level positions to gain hands-on experience. Practical exposure will enhance your skills and allow you to work on real projects and build your professional network. A really important aspect of becoming a web developer is to continuously learn and hone your skills. Web development is rapidly evolving, so it's essential to keep learning and stay updated with new technologies and new techniques and new trends. You want to follow blogs, read any documentation, take online courses, and explore advanced topics to further enhance your skills. Networking is vital for career growth, and you want to attend industry events, join online communities, and connect with other professionals in the field. And as networking can lead to job opportunities, mentorship, and collaborations as well. Remember that becoming a web developer is a continuous learning process. You want to keep challenging yourself and stay curious and adapt to new technologies to stay competitive in the ever-evolving web development industry. So now let's talk a little bit about the website development roadmap. So with the web development roadmap, there are several key steps involved in website development, including planning, design, content creation, development, testing, and deployment. So starting off with the first phase, this is called the planning phase. In this first phase, you'll work with clients or stakeholders to define the goals and objectives of the website, as well as its target audience, features, and functionality. You'll also need to gather information about the client's brand, competitors, and industry as well. The planning stage is one of the most critical part of the website development process, as it sets the foundation for the rest of the project. There are several key steps involved in the planning stage of the website development roadmap. The first one being defining the goals and objectives. So this is when you will work with the client or stakeholders to determine the primary goals and objectives of the website. This can include objectives like increasing brand awareness or driving traffic to the website, generating leads, or making online sales. Another step that involves the planning stage is identifying the target audience. So determining who the site is for and create user personas to represent the different segments of the target audience. This will help you tailor the design of the website, content, and functionality to meet the needs of the user specifically. In the planning stage, you also want to determine the features and functionality. So based on the site's goals and target audience, identify the key features and functionality that will be included, and this can include e-commerce functionality, social media integration, a blog or news section, or a contact form. And then you want to also try and conduct a content review audit. So this is essentially reviewing any existing content that you have and identify gaps or areas for improvement. And you want to create a content plan that outlines what new content will be created, who will create it, and what will be published. You also want to develop a sitemap. So this will be a visual representation of the site structure and hierarchy, including all of the pages and sections that will be included. This will help ensure that the site is well organized and very easy to navigate as well. And lastly, you want to create a project plan. So develop a detailed plan that outlines the timeline, milestones, and deliverables for the project. This should include deadlines for content creation, design mockups, development milestones, and testing and launch dates as well. By taking the time to carefully plan out your website development process, you can help ensure that the final product meets your goals or your client's goals and objectives, and it's tailored to the needs of the target audience and is delivered on time and within budget. So the next phase is the design phase. So in this phase, you're going to create a visual design for the website, including its layout, colors, typography, and imagery. You can use wireframes or mockups to create a basic blueprint of the site structure and design. The design stage is a crucial part of the web development process as it sets the visual tone and style for the site. There are some key steps involved in the design stage as well. The main one being to gather inspiration. So before diving into the actual design work, it's important to gather inspiration and ideas for the website. This can involve reviewing competitors' websites, browsing design galleries, or looking at other websites outside of the client's industry for inspiration. Next then is creating wireframes. So wireframes are basic black and white layouts that outline the structure of the site's site's pages. They help to define the placement of key elements like header, footer, navigation, menu, and contact areas. And then you also want to develop a visual style. So this means just once the wireframes are approved, it's time to develop the visual style of the site. And this can involve creating a color palette, selecting typography, and determining the overall look and feel of the site. You also want to design mockups. So with the wireframes and visual style in place, it's time to create more detailed design mockups. And this will typically involve the site's header, footer, navigation, and content areas. And it can also include multiple versions for different device sizes and resolutions. For design mockups, you want to use tools like Webflow or Figma to really kind of bring your design ideas to life and have something to show potential clients, potential customers, investors, things like that. And it's something that you will then hand over to the developer once design is signed off, and they can see what the website also looks like as well. Next stage would be to review and revise. So once the initial design mockups are complete, they should be reviewed and revised based on feedback from the client or stakeholders. This can involve making adjustments to the layout, color palette, typography, or other elements of the design. And lastly, you want to finalize the design. Once the design has been approved, it's time to finalize the design files and prepare them for development. This can involve creating style guides or design specifications that outline how the design should be implemented in the code. Overall, the design stage is a crucial part of the website development process as it sets the tone and style for the site. By crafting a carefully visual design that meets the client's goals and appeals to the target audience, you can help ensure the site's success. The next phase then is the content creation. So in this phase, you'll create the text, images, and other media that will be included to the website. This can involve some copywriting, sourcing images or videos, and creating graphics or other visual elements. The content creation stage is a critical part of the website development process as it involves creating the text, images, and other media that will be featured on the site. Here are some key steps involved in this content creation stage. The first thing that you want to do is develop a content strategy. Before creating any content, it's important to develop this kind of strategy that outlines the goals and objectives of your site's content. And this can involve defining the target audience, identifying key messaging, and determining the type of content that will be featured on the site as well. And you also want to do keyword research. So if the site will include any kind of search engine optimization like SEO, it's important to conduct keyword research to identify the terms and phrases that the target audience is searching for. And this will kind of help ensure the site's content is optimized for search engines. And for that, you want to use tools like Ubersuggest or SEMrush to kind of see what you're currently ranking for, what people are searching for and finding you, and kind of build on that. You also want to write copy. So based on the content strategy and keyword research, it's time to actually write the copy and content for the site's website. This can involve writing headlines, body copy, calls to actions, otherwise known as CTAs, and optimize them for the target audience and search engines as well. The next part then, you also want to create visual assets. So in addition to copy, the content creation stage may also involve creating visual assets like image, infographics, and videos. These assets should be designed to support the site's messaging and appeal to the target audience. Next stage is the review and revise stage. So once the initial content is created, it should be reviewed and revised based on the feedback from the client or stakeholders. And this can involve making adjustments to the messaging, tone, or style of the content. And lastly, then you want to optimize for search engines. So if SEO is a goal for the site, and it usually is, The content should be optimized for search engines. This can involve including relevant keywords in the content, creating meta descriptions and title tags, and ensuring that the site structure and organization are optimized for search engines as well. Overall, the content creation stage is a critical part of the website development process, as it sets the tone and messaging for the site. By carefully crafting your content that's tailored to the target audience and optimized for search engines, you can ensure that the site is effective in achieving its goals. Next stage then is the actual development stage, and this involves writing the code that will bring the website to life, including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The development stage is where the actual website is built using programming languages and frameworks and other tools. Some key steps involved in the development stage involves setting up a development environment. So before beginning development work, it's important to set up a development environment on a local machine or server, and this typically involves installing the necessary software like a web server, a database, a CMS, a text editor, or integrated development environment. Next thing then you want to develop is the site architecture, and this is essentially once the development environment is set up, it's time to begin developing the site architecture, and this just means creating the necessary files and folders and determining the overall site structure and deciding how the site will be organized and navigated. And then next thing you want to do is code the front end. So the front end of the website refers to the part of the site that users interact with, such as the design, layout, user interface, any buttons, contact forms, and things like that. This typically involves coding like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and may also involve using frameworks like Bootstrap or jQuery to streamline development. And in some cases, it can also just refer to some website builders like Divi or Elementor, where you can essentially take the coding part out of it and just build a website using sort of the drag and drop functionality. All that goes into the front end development as well. Next thing you want to do is code the backend. So the backend of the website refers to the part of the site that users don't see, the server-side logic, database management, and API integrations. This typically involves coding in languages like PHP, Python, or Ruby, and can also involve using frameworks like Laravel or Django. The next thing you want to do is implement the actual functionality. So once the front end and the back end are developed, it's time to implement the site's functionality. And this can involve integrating third-party APIs and setting up forms and other user interactions and ensuring that the site is responsive and mobile friendly, which is more and more important nowadays as Google is ranking websites that are responsive on different devices higher than the ones that don't. It's important to note that the coding the front end, back end, and implementing the functionality, it's not very linear. You don't do the front end first and the back end and implement the functionality. You tend to do all these things at once. So you'll do a bit of the front end, then you'll move on to the back end, and then you'll do a bit of the functionality, then you'll go back onto the front end. So it's a mix of all three, but you're kind of doing it at the same time. It's not always as linear as you do this part first, then this part first, and then that part. The next thing then is to test and debug. So once the site is fully developed, it should be thoroughly tested to ensure that it works as expected. This can involve testing for bugs and errors, checking for compatibility with different browsers and devices, and conducting user testing to ensure that the site is intuitive and user-friendly. Lastly, you want to deploy and launch, and once the site has been tested and approved, it's time to deploy to a live server and launch to the public. This can involve things like setting up hosting, transferring the site files over to the server, and configuring DNS settings. The development stage is one of the later stages of the website development process, but it's still as important as the earlier stages, as it involves bringing the design and content to life, ensuring the site is functional, user-friendly, and has good user experience. By following a structured development process, testing the site thoroughly before you launch, you can help that the site meets the client's needs, meets your needs, and provides a really positive user experience. Next thing then is deployment, and this involves launching the website and making it available to the public. The deployment stage is the final stage of the website development process, and this is essentially when the site is made live and accessible to the public. There are some key steps involved in the deployment stage, and one of them is choosing a hosting provider. So before deploying the site, it's important to choose a hosting provider that meets your site's needs, and this can involve considering factors like server location, server resources, uptime guarantees, backup guarantees, customer support. If you want to find out more about how to choose a correct hosting provider, we have plenty of videos on our YouTube channel discussing the different types of hosting and how to choose the right type of hosting for you. Next thing that you need to do is actually set up your hosting. So once your hosting provider has been chosen, it's time to set up the hosting account and configure the necessary settings. This can involve creating a database, configuring FTP access, and installing any necessary software or frameworks. It's important to note though that if you pick, depending on what hosting provider that you pick, all of that might already be set up, and all you need to do then is actually just transfer your site files, and that would be the next step, to kind of transfer the site files from the development environment to the hosting account. This can involve FTP or web-based file manager to upload the files to the server. Next thing you want to do is test the site again. So once the site is live, it's really important to test it again to ensure that it's working as expected. This can involve checking for broken links, broken images, testing forms, making sure they're going into the right places, testing the user interaction, and ensuring that the site is optimized for different browsers and different devices. Then you want to launch the site. So once the site has been tested and approved, it's time to launch it to the public. And this can involve announcing the launch on social media or any other kind of public channels, submitting the site to search engines, and monitoring site traffic and performance from there. Lastly, then you want to make sure that maintenance and support is covered. So after the site has been launched, it's important to continue monitoring and maintaining it to ensure that it remains functional, it's up to date, over time. So by following a structured deployment process and providing ongoing maintenance and support, you can help ensure that the site meets the client goals and provides a really positive user experience. So, should you build a website by yourself, or should you hire an agency? Deciding on whether to build a website fully yourself or hire an agency depends on a few factors, such as your own technical experience, the complexity of the website, your budget, and your timeline. If you have a good understanding of website development and design, and you have the time and resources to create the website on your own, then building the website yourself may be a good option, and it can be way more cost effective as well, as you won't have to pay for agency services, and you'll have full control of the website development process. If you're interested in figuring out how to build your own website yourself, there's loads of platforms out there. Wix, WordPress, all come with website builders that essentially allow you to build your website. There's loads of platforms out there to find one that kind of suits your own technical needs and find one that suits your functionality. To find out more, you just click through our YouTube channel. We have lots of videos showing tutorials about all of that as well. However, if you don't have the technical experience or the time to develop the website on your own, it might be, or maybe because it's a more complex website with advanced functionality, then hiring an agency might be a better option. An agency will have experienced developers and designers who can create custom websites that meet your specific needs, and they can provide ongoing support and maintenance to ensure that the site remains functional and up to date over time. And that concludes our video on the demand for web developers. It's evident that web development remains a thriving field with tremendous career prospects. So whether you're interested in front-end, back-end, or full-stack development, honing your skills in programming languages, frameworks, and staying updated with industry trends will keep you at the forefront of this dynamic field. I hope you found this video informative and insightful, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more exciting content, and hit that notification bell to stay updated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.